In the meantime, finding a new job is difficult enough, as I said, but what happens if you lose your job before finding another one? Well, in our next story, we will look at the immigration strategy thousands of laid off H-1B professionals are now using to buy themselves more time in the US. While losing a job is stressful for anyone, but for an H-1B worker, losing a job, it is much more than losing a paycheck. It starts a countdown that could decide whether you stay in America or you leave the country. Well, under the current immigration rules, most H-1B professionals get a grace period up to 60 days after their employment ends. Now, on paper, 2 months sounds like enough time for you. But today's hiring market tells a very different story. Interview stretches for weeks, technical rounds take longer, salary negotiations continue for days, and by the time you finally receive an offer, those 60 days are already over. And that's exactly why thousands of laid off professionals, they are now turning to what immigration lawyers call the B2 bridge strategy. Idea very simple. Before your 60-day grace period expires, you file the form I-539 just to change your status from H-1B to B2 visitor visa. Once that application is properly filed, you enter what's known as period of authorized stay, allowing you to remain in the US while USCIS processes your request. Now, for many people, this becomes valuable extra time to continue interviews, attend networking events, and search for another employer who is willing to sponsor an H-1B petition. But don't mistake this for an easy shortcut. USCIS is now examining these applications much more closely than before. Officers want to know why you are requesting visitor status now. They want proof that you can financially support yourself without working. They also want evidence that your stay is temporary and that you will continue to become a non-immigrant, and that should be your intention. In other words, simply writing, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," it is not enough. Well, applicants now need to show bank statements. They need to explain how they will pay their living expenses, and they need to demonstrate that they are following immigration rules very carefully. Any missing document or weak implementation, it can trigger request for evidence, or in some cases, even a denial. There's another important rule that many people don't realize. If your B2 application is pending, you cannot work. Not for a US company, not remotely from any other employer. Well, not as a freelancer, even not as an unpaid worker that resembles employment, that can create serious immigration complication. Now, let's say that you finally receive a job offer. Your new employer files an H-1B petition while your B2 application is still pending. Now, that creates what's commonly known as bridge between the two applications. Corporate immigration lawyers, they often use premium processing to make sure both cases move through USCIS in a correct sequence, helping the employer return to H-1B status without leaving the country. Well, for thousands of foreign professionals, this strategy has become an important lifeline. But it's also a reminder that immigration is becoming much more technical every year. One missed deadline, one incorrect filing, or one unauthorized job, it can change the entire outcome of your case. Today, surviving a layoff, it is not about finding your next employer. It is also about making sure your immigration status survives the journey with you.